Ladies and gentlemen, thanks very much for your attendance today. I must admit, I was looking at the snow over the weekend and thinking, is it going to come and disrupt this event? But I think the roads are pretty clear, and thanks so much for getting up so early on a Monday morning and fighting your way through the traffic to be here. This is the first event of the North East Economic Forum in 2010. Tomorrow evening, we've got the Chief Executive of the European Car Manufacturers Association coming to speak at the annual dinner. And in February, we'll be having the annual forum event, which this year is going to be very much focused on the region's low-carbon economy. As you know, the idea of developing the North East, it's been identified by the government as a region where we should try to build businesses that are associated with sustainability and environment. And I think to give that a real push, what we want to try and do is focus many of our activities between now and the general election on that issue, so that whatever the result of that election is, that the region is well placed to be an exemplar for the United Kingdom and indeed for Europe when it comes to issues related to sustainability. So thank you for being here today. Those of you who are going to be joining Ivan Hodash, the head of the European Car Manufacturers Association, we look forward to seeing you tomorrow night, and I hope many of you will come when we have Ed Miliband and various other ministers and shadow ministers and business leaders for the annual event on the low-carbon economy. This issue of training and skills is, I've always felt, the most important issue for our region. And as you saw from the slides that were shown before, which were gratefully provided to us by Microsoft, the challenge for every region around the world now is, and the competition is absolutely acute. We, as Sovereign Strategy, look after the biggest inward investment from China in terms of advising them on their communications. And it's incredible talking to the Chinese staff who are now located in the United Kingdom, when you talk about the way in which the universities in China are developing and the massive throughput of people who are getting into higher education and finding their way into jobs around the world. But of course, as we know in this region, it's not only an issue related to higher education. A key issue for our region, which is we have about 2.5 million people, is making sure that we've got a broad and wide and deep skill set, which means that our young people, as they enter education and as they go through their education, can choose not only to go into higher education, but of course can develop vocational skills. And on the panel today, we've got two very important businesses in our region. I'm going to introduce the Minister in a second, but I just want to introduce the people from the two businesses who are on the panel today. I think if you look at talent training, you'll see that it is an extremely successful business in our region. David Harper established talent training in Newcastle in July 2001, and their clients include Harrods, Lidl, JGD Sports, Asda, DHL, and TDR. And David is one of those enthusiastic entrepreneurs who absolutely understands the importance of training for our regional economy, but also, of course, for the businesses concerned and indeed for the people who are working in those businesses. Those of us here who own or run businesses know that possibly the most difficult thing to do is to find the right people with the right skills, the quality of people who can work in a team or who can deliver particular skills in whatever job or whatever type of employment you have. And so I'm delighted that David is here from Talent Training. We also have a very important business in our region called Soil Machine Dynamics. And Soil Machine Dynamics is, I think, if you look at it, it was voted recently I think the best business in our region. It's an extraordinary business that is working in China in the oil and gas industry. It's one of our most successful subsea engineering companies. And of course, as well as operating in the United Kingdom, it has this very, very exceptional marketplace around the world. And I was speaking to Andrew Hodgson, the CEO of the company, who will be on our panel and will speak to you today, about the fact that because of the globalization of the economy, his company has been able to ride the recession because of the internationalization of his marketplace. So they are the two panel speakers. What I want to do now is to introduce Ian Wright, who's the Minister for Skills in the government. And we've been very successful over the last 12 or 13 years in having important ministers in significant positions. And as well as being the Member of Parliament for Hartlepool, Ian has this critical role which looks at skills for the 14 to 19-year-olds within the British government. And I think we all know as employers that we want young people who are going through that part of their life to emerge with skills which are practical skills, things that can be used in our businesses in this region. And of course, it's a key to making sure that many of these young people do not end up in long-term unemployment. So Ian, I know that you, after your speech and after the Q&A that we'll do with you, you have to leave because you're off to Whitehall. But we're very grateful that you've come to launch the first of the North East Economic Forum's events in 2010. And we're very much looking forward to hearing what you've got to say. Please.